Venerable for joining us tonight. And thank you all for being here tonight and supporting each other in our practice. As always, when we have Pandit, it's a well-filled house. So without further ado, I'll just pass the floor to Pandit. Please lead us.
Okay, cool. Anybody here not done meditation before? Little bit? Okay. Little bit, okay. So usually we will sit together for 30 minutes or so. I'll offer up some reflections, some time for questions, and we will be finished by 8 o'clock. Sound good? Sound okay? Okay, so if you're ready, please settle yourself into a comfortable position. And if you have a favorite meditation system, do carry on with your meditation you are accustomed to. For those who are new or would like to follow the way I meditate, I'll give some reflection, some instruction. Put your attention onto the sensation of breathing as it runs through the middle of the body. If you follow the breath inwards, it comes in and then down straight through the center of the body. That's where you can feel the physical sensation. Sure, you know that the breath separates into the lungs, but the actual prana, feeling of the breath, runs straight down the center of the body. As a meditator, we put our attention onto a neutral meditation object. Usually that means the breath. It can be a mantra or color or physical sensation. But the breath is a really good object of meditation. It's not happy, it's not sad, it's not pleasant, it's not unpleasant. But when you get accustomed to just having your attention with the breath, it can be quite beautiful. The breath is always there. It's always indicating to you your current state. Are you bright or dull or agitated, desiring? Your breath is a good mirror to reflect to you how you feel. So the meditator trains himself to be comfortable with this neutral object of the breathing. Try to be with each breath as it begins, lasts for a while, ceases. And you may note the gap in between the breaths. You can follow the breath as it runs up and down through the center of the body. Or you may put your attention down in the middle of the body as the breath runs past. Or you may like to feel the rising and falling of the abdomen. But choose your place of attention and keep the attention there. As you breathe in and breathe out, stories will occur to the mind, sounds will attract from your ear, feelings will arise in the body. Just note whatever it is that's come to distract your attention. You can note thinking. Then you bring your attention back to the sensation of the breath, or hearing, or feeling. No need to get complicated labels. Just enough to break your attention from going out to whatever that thing is that attracted your attention. So as you sit here watching the breath, the thought will come up. What's for dinner? You think about food. Just note thinking. Be willing to let go of that topic. It's not important. It doesn't need thinking about. To the degree that these topics, these subjects, the stories occur and compel you to follow them, to that degree you are not in control of your mind. Your mind is in control of you. But if a thought or a memory or a feeling or a plan or a very real problem comes up into your conscious awareness and you're not able to let go of it, then you are controlled by your mind. If you train yourself, whatever it is, deal with it later. This is the time for meditation. So train yourself to interrupt whatever story it is that's coming into your attention. Whatever sound attracts your attention. Whatever feeling in the body attracts your attention. Train yourself to interrupt that process. Re-establish mindful awareness. Make the breath into your very best friend. It's so beautiful when you train yourself. Note that your thinking, your attention will slip away from the breath after a while. Any repetitive action you make, your mind will quickly see the pattern in, out, and think, yeah, I can leave that, I can go off thinking about something else. So it's difficult to bring your attention to a repetitive pattern. Be willing to fail 100 times, 1,000 times. Attention slips away. You bring it back. Thinking gets hold of you. You bring it back. Sleepiness, tiredness gets hold of you. You reawaken. 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times. Meditating daily, weekly, yearly. This is a lifelong process. If you have some experience with meditating, you should know when your attention is present and when your attention slips away. The only object that you need is knowing that presence. Make sure your attention is inside the body. As the mind stops going out to anything, out to any thoughts, out to any memories, out to any sounds or feelings, the consciousness will reassemble itself, recollect itself, become very bright, very powerful. This bright, intensified sense of self, grounded in the body, can start to awaken. If this happens, forget about your meditation objects or plans or teachers or teachings. go directly into this unconditioned consciousness. See what makes it sharper and brighter. See when it dissipates. This is entering into first jhana, first absorption meditation. You catch the mind and apply a steadiness of presence. No meditation object necessary. As this intensifies, a piti, rapture, can come through the body. A pleasant feeling, highly intense, intensified self, intensified energy, powerful. Feel what makes it tighter and brighter and sharper. Feel what dissipates it. If you can pass from this piti, rapture, happiness arises, an absurd happiness. Consciousness, purified of all objects, is so beautiful, it's so happy, so self-fulfilled. This happiness, the Buddha said, is a happiness which I will indulge. This is not a happiness based on sense pleasures, getting something nice to see, to eat, to feel, to touch, to do. Always, as a meditator, we're heading towards this bright, purified consciousness. This present, vibrant, powerful, intensified consciousness. Be patient. No matter how advanced you become, you have days your mind will not cooperate, it's sleepy, it's tired, it's reluctant, it's doubtful. All of these things, the joys of meditation. No matter how advanced your meditation can get, you spend a lot of time dealing with these hindrances. So be patient. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with your environment. Keep making that gentle, persistent effort. At some point your karma will come together. You get these bright spots or peak experiences, sometimes called consolations. But it comes from patient practice. So keep bringing your attention back to the breathing. Make the breath into your friend. The mind will only become beautiful if you train it. 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times, let go of whatever thing has stolen your attention. Whatever thought, feeling, story. Interrupt the process. Re-establish mindfulness in the present moment. And try to make your body and your mind bright. Bring a feeling of brightness into where you're sitting. Let us call this brightness loving kindness, a beautiful well-wishing for yourself, a beautiful intention. And you radiate this loving kindness out, firstly to the people in this room. May they all be happy, healthy, free from suffering. Radiating out to the people in this room, opening yourself up to receiving from everyone and reflecting to everyone. Myself, the 2 Bantes in this room, so much joy. And taking this beautiful brightness, loving kindness, unconditional love from the whole room, and we share it out to the universe, to the people you know, the people you love, the people you respect and cherish. Offer them the loving kindness of this entire group here in this room. Outwards towards all those people you interact with daily, from drivers to shopkeepers to strangers. May they also share in this beautiful loving kindness. And out to the devas, those heavenly beings, those beautiful beings. We share with them. Beings in hell realms, animal realms, ghost realms. All those beings are unseen. And all those people who have hurt you or abused you without thinking of the things that they've done. Our loving kindness is unconditional. Take the energy of the whole room, give to those people too. And finally, back to yourself, make the sincere wish, the intention to purification of consciousness, purification of mind, the growth through the attaining of Dhamma, these beautiful mind states, to the path, to the fruition nibbana, and enlightenment. Sabbe buddha balapata pachekanancha yang balang arahantanancha te jena rakang bandami sabhaso sabba buddha nubhavena satthaso te bhavantu te sabbe buddha balapata pachekanancha yang balang arahantanancha te jena rakang bandami sabhaso Sabba Dhamma nubhavena satthaso te bhavantu te Sabbe buddha balapata pachekanancha yang balang arahantanancha te jena rakang bandami sabhaso Sabba sangha nubhavena satthaso te bhavantu te. Okay, relax your posture. Okay, good. This evening I brought my friends here, my venerable friends here. This is Bhante Mudita. He's ordained for 12 years. He looks Thai, but he's not. So if he does something weird, it's because he's not accustomed to Thai custom. He's very normal. I'm not expecting anything weird. So he's living in Canada, and in the temple near Toronto. And this is Venerable Bodhicitta, formerly known as Jeff. And he was actually my host when I went to Canada last year. And he has had a temple/refuge place, beautiful building. And that's where I stayed for 4 months in his place. He's now ordained and living in the same place, actually in a Chinese temple near Toronto. So if you're ever near Toronto, look them up. They're friendly. They have a lodging in the place. Yeah. So this evening's topic was actually a group of lawyers who came to Bangkok for a conference. I'm always wondering how much I can say. Because it was quite funny. I got this email that was copied onto another friend. And there's a guy asking his friend, he said, do you know any ordained monks that I can invite to this conference? Because I have 150 asshole lawyers coming. So I caught him in the conference and said, you know what, I saw that email you wrote. Anyway, they were nice people. They were... So their topic, they wanted to... they settled on this topic, nothing is really something, the value of emptiness in a world full of things, something like that, was the theme of the conference. So this got me thinking of the way that human beings, all of us, automatically fill up our space, fill up with things. And there's a quotation from this spiritual master, woman, female, what's a mistress? Doesn't sound right. And she said, in this world with all its newfangled objects, every week there's a new thing coming out to get people's attention, some new fantastic invention of science. Nobody has time for spiritual pursuits anymore. Something like that. This was Saint Teresa of Avila in the 1580s. So I don't think things have changed that much. I think we assume that previously life was so much easier or better or simpler, but I think actually we just filled it up with stuff the same. There seems to be this mechanism of human beings that we will fill up our space with more and more things. There's one friend of mine. Are we on live streaming today? We are. Okay, have to be a bit careful then. This one friend of mine, whose name I won't mention, but he owned a yoga studio in Bangkok. And I went to his house. I knew his wife, met her a few times. She invited me over and I went to his house, to their apartment, and had lunch. And it's very pleasant and very nice. And he said to me, you know, I would really love to ordain. He said, that's just the thing that I would love most to do in this world. But he said, I can't because I love my wife too much. That's nice. Fast forward about 3 years and they'd split up. And I said to him, now you can come and ordain now. He said, no, I've got a girlfriend now. So he does. They moved to a place, another country, and they have a child now together. They seem very happy, but it does have that idea that you think a simple life will be so nice, and then when you get it, you're bored, and you fill it up with stuff. And so this seems to be a tendency of human beings to ever increase our life stuff. Nowhere is this better exemplified than the European Union. Come on, they make more and more legislation with more and more rules, and they just expand and expand and expand this bureaucracy. It never ends. I was looking at, well, because I was with these lawyers, I was looking at case law, which in the British system, when a judge has decided a case, that now becomes case law, and any later judges who have a similar case are supposed to follow the same judgment, with the idea being that that judge has determined what's right and wrong, so later judges should judge the same way. This is called case law, and it's a little different, as I found out in Holland, but a slightly different mechanism. But case law just expands and expands and expands. So I was looking at American tax law. Don't ask me why, but I blame Grok. Grok is lethal. You know Grok is this AI, it's like ChatGPT, but way better. He's a ChatGPT. I can't even remember what GPT. He's a fan of it. He actually got me into it. It's his fault. When I was in Canada, he's like, no, Bante is really good. You ask it anything. And now I spend more time on that than any other app. So it was telling me that a tax law in America, if you include case law, it comes to 75,000 pages. I mean, who can, that's just tax law. Insane. Adding in more and more taxes. I was looking at the car tax in Britain, and it used to be when I was in Britain, if you had a car, you paid this fee, and that was it. Then they changed it. No, if you have a bigger car, you pay more, and then if you have 6 wheels, you pay more, and then if you have a new car, you pay an insane amount. And then they changed that, so if a new car emits more carbon dioxide, so now they have like, you guys have taxed your car, now they have like 15 different bands, and now they have a new one. Rachel Reeves, the Labour government, she said if your car is worth more than £40,000 new, you have to pay an extra £200 a year tax. It used to be one tax to drive your car, and now you have this just ever increasing. And now my question is, does the world get better? Every time they add in a new tax or make these tweaks, does it get better? They add in more and more taxes to get your money off you, and then give you rebates if you save money, and then rebates if you're disabled or... I mean, the point is, as these things expand, the intention is to make things better. Because we always think, if I can just tweak the system a little bit, I'll make it better. And you don't make it better, you make it bigger. And that's why we voted Brexit. And we get blue passports. Don't forget the blue passports. So that's the question in life, in your own life. Does adding in more things, does trying to tweak things to make things better, does it really make things better? What about if we go the other way and we start to remove all of these complications from life? Do you feel better then? There is a tendency within the mind, in Buddhism, is called Vedana. This word Vedana means, it actually means liking and disliking. Some scholars will argue with George. Let me just name him. He unleashed on me, it does not mean liking and disliking, it means pleasant sensation, unpleasant sensation. So, according to, you guys would say that, right? He was actually a follower of Pratt Noah. Some of you know Noah Yuta Dhamma. We had him here some years ago. And he's very precise. Not him, Noah is very precise with his definitions. So this word Vedana means pleasant sensation, unpleasant sensation. I have good reason for saying this actually means liking and disliking. Liking and disliking is the tendency in the mind to push and pull in the mind. Because of things that you like, the automatic assumption is if I get more of the things I like, I will feel happier. If I avoid more of the things I dislike, then I will be happier. And this somehow gets baked into the system of human consciousness. So always, because if I get more of what I like, I'm happier, then the automatic tendency is if I add more, I get another thing, that will make me better off. And you start adding, my favourite example, one of my favourite examples, I was in Hawaii and we were doing a retreat, so there's not much chance to go out to a shop. And they gave me this soap, and the soap had oatmeal in it. Nobody seems shocked by that. Isn't that just wrong? I want oatmeal in my soap about as much as I want soap in my oatmeal. And it's scratchy. Like, don't do that. But isn't that the tendency? If you see a bar of soap, as a sales pitch, as a marketeer or an entrepreneur, if you have soap, or you have soap plus something, the human mind will automatically go, the plus something has to be better. We have this baked-in understanding that to add in something more, something extra, is always going to give us a little piece of pleasure. And it doesn't. You don't need soap in your... You don't need oatmeal in your soap. I'm not kidding. People give monks weird stuff. Often I don't know where they get it from, but someone gave me this soap, squeezed liquid soap. I don't mind liquid soap as long as it's real soap. That stupid shower gel and cream, that'll... Disliking, that's disliking. We just went on this retreat down in Khao Sok about a year ago now, but beautiful resort. And they had this disgusting shower cream. It just leaves you slimy. So someone gave me this soap. It was, I'm not kidding, this is soap with strawberry extract. And the catchphrase on it, for strawberry kissable skin. Just what I need. We always assume that to get something more is going to give an extra piece of happiness, and it's It's a mistake in the human consciousness. He was just reminding me, when I went to Canada, I had this awful, awful experience. It was one of the worst days, and it was so bad it made me shake. I was, no. And this was a shop called Bulk Barn. And you go in and it has these big drums of just amazing stuff that you can just scoop out in big scoops and nobody tells you off. Like they had like 5 kinds of pistachio nuts, 20 kinds of roasted pumpkin seeds. And I was starting to shake, and then I thought, I wonder if they have licorice. And they had 10 kinds of licorice. I couldn't bear it. I came out of this place like really disturbed because I wanted so many things in that shop. So this tendency that we have to always feel that we add on, this is liking and disliking. As a meditator, you should train yourself to start to see this pushing and pulling in the mind. This pushing and pulling in the mind is what makes your mind an unpleasant place to be. If you reach the point where the mind is not pushing and pulling anymore, that's the beautiful place to be. Now, with things that you dislike, if you pay attention, you spend a lot of time disliking things. Depends on your nature. According to Buddhism, 3 basic characters, what do they call, personality types. People who focus on things that they like. This is called a greed-based character. People who focus on things that they dislike. This is called a hate-based character, or dosa. And people who focus on things that they don't like, neither like nor dislike, but like to distract themselves with. This is called moha. And these are called greed, hatred, and delusion. There are only 3, because there is only liking, disliking, or neutral. That covers everything. That's why these 3 go together. If you focus on things that you dislike, you tend to be focused on the past and tend to ruminate over things that happened in the past. If you focus on things that you like, you tend to be forward, future-based, focused. And if you are moha, if you are focused on the neutral, this is things like TV, grok, YouTube, newspapers, just dumb stuff because you don't want to feel yourself. And isn't that what most people are avoiding? When you see people get on the train and immediately the phone comes out. I took these monks today up to Puttamonton, and we were walking up this beautiful pathway up into this incredible building where all the scriptures are laid out, Buddhist scriptures on these huge marble slabs. And I realized I was walking ahead, I turned around, both of them are walking up the street on their phones like this. One of the most inspiring things to see.
I'll stay my camera ready.
So that tendency to the pushing and pulling in the mind that comes from liking and disliking, as a meditator you should train yourself to see, first of all, see the disliking, because that's easier to see that it agitates you. Disliking, according to Buddhism, is fast to arise, but it's fast to cease if you see it. So seeing disliking leads to wisdom, according to Buddhism. Because when you see the agitation that comes from disliking things, you're like, yeah, I don't like that. And most people don't see it. You're just caught in the disliking of it. The world isn't good enough, the people aren't good enough, the food isn't good enough, the weather isn't good enough, the government isn't good enough. So when you're caught in that, so many people, if you haven't practiced that self-reflection, that ability to stop and look and monitor and see actually what's happening, when you stop and look and you feel it, the disliking tendency immediately appears as something that you want to cast off. The Buddha described it this way, a beautiful analogy. He said, it's like a young man or a young woman who is fond of their appearance. If you were to go to that person and drape a dead dog across their shoulders, what would that young man or young woman do? The answer came, immediately they would try to cast off that foul-smelling dead dog. This is the Buddha's own analogy. In the same way, when you see that disliking tendency in the mind, it immediately starts to appear as something you want to cast off. So you naturally start to unwind yourself from it. So this hating mind or disliking mind is quick and easy to arise, but with observation it's quick to cease. The desiring mind takes more effort and more energy. You actually have to stop and think and focus on that thing that you want. You have to stir up the desiring. So it's slower to arise. But once you're caught in desiring, it's slower to cease too. It's very sticky when you want stuff. It gets really caught in your mind. I have a lot of things. We're setting up a retreat center in Rayong, and it requires the purchase of a lot of power tools. Now you can keep all your... I had to get a new phone this week because my phone died, and I got a new phone, and I go to the shop, what's the cheapest phone you've got? Like, that's the one I want, and that's what I got. 5G. There was a 4G one that was cheaper. I thought I might as well get the 5G. A little extra thing, you know, makes you a bit happier. Yeah. But I didn't care. There was a phone there for 84,000 baht. Like, who? Even if you can afford it, like, you'd just be afraid to take it out. To show it to people. Does it look any different? I mean, they all look the same now, don't they? I have a nice green... So I didn't care. I don't care about phone. They don't interest me. They don't attract my greed. But power tools. So I just got the electric sander. I've taken up a drill. I need a cordless drill. And the reason is we're building this retreat center, and so getting these power tools is not because I'm greedy. It's an offering that I'm going to make to humankind to come and do retreats. And they're just an unfortunate necessity that I'm going to have to buy. So greed is slower to arise because you have to start focusing on the thing. You have to start thinking about it and wanting it and planning it. And so it's slower to arise. But once it's caught in the system, it's slower to dissipate. The disliking is quick to dissipate because you cast it off when you've trained yourself to see it. But liking, that's a lot harder to see as uncomfortable in the mind. And this is why we do meditation. I talk about these beautiful, refined states of meditation, but what is it that blocks those states? When you sit and meditate, this mind works like a machine. It will do what you've trained it to do. So most people come to meditate and then say, my mind jumps around too much. I have a monkey mind. My mind's out of control. And sometimes sit and people sweat and kind of go a bit crazy and shake and get panic attacks. We come across this quite a lot. But that's your mind. That mind has not arisen because you're now meditating. Because you're meditating, you can now see that that's the mind that you live in. You just kind of observe it now. So that's why we train ourselves as meditators to watch this pushing and pulling of the mind. pushing and the pulling of the mind always assumes if I get one more thing, if I can change that thing that I dislike, if I can get that thing that I like, then that happiness is always one step ahead. And it's not. That pushing and pulling in the mind is what you experience as unpleasant when you meditate. If you start to see the mind in this way, you're advancing. Wisdom is starting to arise. But it takes effort and it takes time. It also takes being aware of when that pushing and pulling stops. Because for most people, when the mind begins to stop, if that makes sense, what happens? Usually you fall asleep. The mind simply isn't accustomed to being aware of it when it isn't talking to itself, when it isn't wanting stuff. Can you sit and not have any internal dialogue at all? Your cat can do it. Your dog can do it. I saw the monastery cat in England. He'd just come along and there'd be a beam of sunlight. Oh, that's enough. I thought, why the cat can do it? And I'm sat here with this stuff going through my head. The mind is a machine. It just does what you trained it to do. It's working according to the pattern that you've trained it to live in. Unless you train it differently, it's going to carry on being that way. And this is going to take time and effort and years of meditation for most people. There are supposed to be 4 paths. The short and easy, the short but difficult, the long but easy, and the long but difficult. So 4 different paths. Most of us are on one of the long paths. I've met people on a short and easy. There was a man, I mention names, he's famous in Thailand, Dr. Sanong, you know of him? Yeah. So he actually went to Wat Mahathat, Section 5, the international section, and he went in and said, right, so what do I do, this meditation stuff? And they said, well, sit there, watch your breath, and don't let your mind go to any other thing. He said, right. And by the morning, he had all these attainments. Could see all these like heavens and hells, and he's famous for seeing heavens and hells and devas and things. So then he comes back to his teacher, says, right, now I can see all this stuff, and I've attained these things, now what? And the teacher was like, oh my God, I've never met anyone that could actually do it. So he wrestled quite hard. I say he was on a short and hard path. It's in a book. If you want, I can link to it on Facebook. There's a free book somewhere, and it's not a long story, but it's quite a nice story. He's well known here, and he does have events. Kalyana Tam. Are they still operating?
No, they stopped doing the big event
Okay.
4 years ago.
4 years. COVID, basically. So they would have an event. There would always be like 5,000 people turn up.
Support background. There's a hospital.
Okay.
Just like 100 seats.
Okay. There used to be like good 5,000 people, and then monks always got the front row seats, and we didn't have to book. But you turn up, and they'd have a red, a blue, and a white line, and depending on your ticket, you'd have to follow this line and get to your seat. They always had tons of stuff to give away for free, never charged anybody, and then they'd have 4 big name speakers. I wasn't a big enough name. They put me on the committee for a year or so and then cut me off because I couldn't follow all the emails. Hundreds of emails, man, and it's all in Thai. So he was well known for that. He had this really short but fast path. And people come to him because they like the stories of heaven and hell and these psychic powers, but all the time he's just saying, no, just come back and meditate. It's not about what I see, it's about your mind, you sit. So always he's trying to bring people back to this simple practice. But I think it's too simple. The mind wants complexity. my good friend Marissa, Qigong teacher. I was teaching with her in Singapore, and to be honest, they weren't interested in me. They were all interested in her. She looks beautiful. She may be watching. Better be nice. And teaches Qigong and yoga. So a lot of the ladies in this business group had done a lot of yoga. And so they came to her, they wanted to know this like secret asana. Asana being a posture. And this particular posture in a granny knot, and you tie yourself up and then you hold it for 900 seconds or something, I don't know. And it's supposed to be a posture that's not really taught because it's too difficult or dangerous or powerful, I don't know. And Marissa was just saying, look, just do the regular thing, but do it mindfully. It's not about attaining another posture. It's about making it beautiful and making it simple. And they're like, yeah, but I've heard, and blah, blah, blah. And eventually she gave them this impossible posture and said, right, go and do that one. And they all went against the wall and tried to get into it. None of them could do it, and they were happy. The idea that attainment is to add something on is just a mistake in the human mind. So we watch this tendency, liking and disliking. It's called Vedana. Sometimes it's split into pleasant and unpleasant sensation of the body, and neutral, and then liking and disliking, somanasa, domanasa, means liking and disliking in the mind. So sometimes they count as 3, liking, disliking and neutral, sometimes 5, liking, disliking and neutral of the body, and then liking in the mind, disliking in the mind. Different ways to characterize it, or to model it, but the point was always the same. The pushing and pulling of your mind is what is the problem. So you have to train yourself to be able to sit and know these pleasant and unpleasant sensations that come up. That when you dislike something, there is a near miss or a mistake that a lot of practitioners make with this, that somehow they have to just be happy with everything. And it's usually new monks, right? Bante, you've seen this. New monks come in and then like everything's perfect and I like this and I'm so enlightened and I'm great. You're like, this guy's going to last 5 minutes. You can't keep that up. It's not about happy clappy suddenly being in a euphoria. It's about seeing that liking and not falling for it. Maintaining this sense of presence, maintaining the meditation. Like, yes, I'm liking something, but I'm not going to get drawn into it. Usually because it costs you money. Somebody gets pregnant. Something bad is going to come at the end of it. And then same for the disliking. Like I can sit now with disliking. Usually I can sit and just know the disliking. Something still overpower. Screeching chickens. Man, I hate chickens. Someone got one in, like, I live in Bangkok and there's no chickens. That's the main reason why I live here. Someone just got one last week down in my foot of my building every morning. But I'm mindful. Disliking, strangling. So my place in the country where I'll be moving to, it's full of chickens, but they're way down in the lower temple. I got a room on the roof, and I've got like 200 meters between me and the chickens. That's just enough. So you will have difficulty. There are things that you dislike, and maybe good reason to dislike. There are unpleasant things. British government. I don't think they're that bad, but there you go. So we watch this tendency, the pushing and pulling of stuff in the mind, but one of the problems then that comes for meditators is you get so into this practice of seeing liking and disliking that you forget to see the mind that isn't liking and disliking, the mind that stops still and purifies by itself. This comes in moments or flashes or peak experiences. Earlier I used the word consolations. This was actually a phrase in, I don't know if I should go this far, but in Saint Teresa of Avila and Saint John of the Cross, the Spanish mystics, they used this model for what they called contemplation, meditation. And it was called the dark nights, the dark night of the body, the dark night of thought, the dark night of memory, and then the dark night of the soul. You probably heard of the dark night of the soul. You probably don't know what it referred to, but it referred to these 4 stages. So controlling the bodily senses, you give it up and keep yourself focused. Then memory, you give up all memory of things, present moment awareness. Then you give up thought. You have to, in order to purify the mind, you have to go beyond thought. Many meditation systems, they miss this. They tell you so much to be mindful of your thoughts, be mindful of your feelings. They forget you're supposed to get past that. Sometimes I've seen with meditators, their mind starts to attain in the right way. And then they're looking around for something to be mindful of. So, if this starts to happen, move into that new experience, that purified experience. And then dark night of the soul. I must admit, when I read this is the system of St. John of the Cross, but it's pretty heavy stuff, and the book is quite dense. And I stopped, I didn't read the dark night of the soul. I only read the first 3. It's actually called The Ascent of Mount Carmel. Has anyone read that? No? Okay, it's quite a... No? Okay, it's quite a powerful spiritual text. And so in their system, dark nights mean where you start to suffer. You suffer because you're giving up attachments of the body, then thought, then memory, then thought, and then the soul. And that will cause like a darkness and a heaviness, and it's difficulty to practice. And a tendency, you want to just go back to nice thinking about something, TV, friends, something comfortable. But then what they said was, this is in the Christian mystic system, you get these trials and then consolations. So in their system, these consolations come from God. And it gives you a sweetness of the presence of God. It gives you a taste that gives you the encouragement to keep practicing. So in Buddhism, we don't think that a God is sitting up there watching you, think, I'll give you a little bit and then I'll take it away. It comes, according to our practice and our theory, it depends on you. It depends on your karma, your practice, your mind. So we practice to open up this space. When this space opens up, then everything becomes more beautiful. It is strange the way it happened. I see this with people that come and ordain, usually Westerners. They have a very hard time in Thai temples. I did myself. Really, everything was wrong. The Thais were wrong, the abbot was wrong, the way they meditated was wrong, the weather was wrong, the mosquitoes were wrong. They did, to be fair, my first year I had to share a room with 2 Russians, so that was very wrong. That was hard, man. But it's your own mind that's wrong. Once that space opens up, then suddenly, like, actually people are all right. The system is all right. The weather's all right. Even the mosquitoes are all right. The chickens are still bad. So you have to practice. So all of this is always attention inwards on you, on your mind, your experience, you're pushing and you're pulling of consciousness. Seems selfish. So there was a story the Buddha gave, which I'll finish with, and very famous Buddhist story was called The Two Acrobats, and there was an old guy and a young guy, and they have a pole, and the old guy holds the pole and the young guy climbs up and does various acrobatics on the pole. We're never told quite what they did. I'm curious to know. And the young guy says, you know what, in order to earn a good living, we have to perform well. So he said to the old man, I'm going to watch you carefully and give you advice and correct you when you make mistakes. And you should watch me carefully and correct me when I make mistakes. And the old man said, that's wrong. He said, I'm going to watch myself and correct my mistakes. You watch yourself and correct your mistakes. Then everything will be fine. So this was the Buddha's addressing this question of, if all your practice is internal, are you just giving up on the world? But no, practicing on yourself is what makes the world beautiful. So I'm going to stop there. Nothing is really something. If you can practice it, give up this tendency to always add on more stuff, more things, more desires. The pushing and pulling. Did you have any questions? Or something you want to go further into? Yeah. Sorry, you had a question earlier and then I was on a roll.
This one's quite loud. I just realised some of my students and my teacher are non-verbal mind, and I also have a non-verbal mind, and it's just something I learned last month.
What's a non-variable mind?
Non-verbal.
Non-verbal? Okay.
Non-verbal mind.
Sorry, it's your Scottish accent. Variable.
So I learned a lot about different kinds of non-verbal minds. Some of them
Right.
can put an image in their mind, like I can't do images. Some are pattern-based, some feel things. But I just wondered, like you were saying about how in meditation people's minds jump, but I was already non-verbal mind.
Right.
And there's 25%, according to AI, of non-verbal minds. So I'm wondering what that...
You're still always focused on a thing. So the attention is still always going to something. Now, be it an image or be it a sound. Like music can do this. Some nice, good music can put the mind into a non-verbal state, and you just get into some classical music, especially with no lyrics. It can turn off the thinking, the verbalization, and you're just in that music.
I don't have verbal mind.
You must say things to yourself.
Only for...
Like, I'm going to make a cup of tea now. I think that needs to... I think I'm going to fix my window today. You don't have that? That's strange for me. But the tendency of the mind to always be focused on an object, this is universal. So there's always some kind of object that you're holding in perception. If you can actually just be with the mind with no perceiving of anything, this should get this brightness and this body awareness which should start to arise and become quite powerful and bright. But even if you're non-verbal, you're still, for most people, you're going to be some object focused. Like you're focused on the cat. I can look at the cat without verbalizing it, but I'm still focused on an object. I can listen to classical music and not be verbal, but I'm still focused on an object. And honestly, if you can navigate stuff without verbalizing, I think you're quite lucky. Does anyone else have that? Find that you can just No. There's always this internal dialogue, right, going on. Conversations, thoughts. Yeah. No, I believe you because, yeah, I can listen to music with non-verbally. I can watch the cat non-verbally. We have a really nice cat in my building at the moment. And I get that spot down here and he's, and I just get that, I get that beautiful pleasure. I'm not thinking anything. I don't think the cat's thinking anything either. And I like that. I do it specifically because I can get into that non-verbal space. But I'm still object-focused. I can do it sweeping the leaves. I turn the mind off, no more thinking, just sweeping. But I'm still focused on an object. Yeah.
Thank you. So you were talking about greed and hatred. What's the Buddhist view on the sense of competition? Is it greed? Is it hatred? Can it be healthy? Like in professional setting, maybe someone is doing something better than you, and you might want to strive to be better yourself.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I always thought, because dedicating my life to peace and enlightenment, I quite like watching the boxing. And when I watch the boxing, and in between the rounds, and they go back, and the trainers come and scream and shout at them and shake them, and you got to do this and this and this, and when he does that, you got to do this, and then you got to. And I keep thinking, just leave him alone for a minute. Let the guy. He's just had his head punched. Let him just sit there for a minute and breathe. So I always thought I'd be good as a trainer. I should get paid a lot of money to go and train the trainers to leave the boxer alone. Just breathe. Bring your attention down. Meditate. But then I was thinking this for quite a while, and then a friend of mine, he used to come to Dhamma sessions. He actually trains the Thai golf team. And he had the same idea as me. I think he maybe heard it in a talk, and then said, I have that idea, and so he came and spoke to me. When he trains people in golf, everything is about the swing. Which way to look, where you place your body, and I don't know. It seems a bit pointless to me, golf, but boxing has a point, golf doesn't. But his idea was, he wanted to train the team to meditate on the walk between the holes, because everything was focused on how to hit the ball. And he noticed that as soon as they hit the ball, their mind just goes all over the place. And he wanted to get that walk between the holes to do like a walking meditation. I thought this was a fantastic idea. So I went along and joined the training of the Thai golf team. And I have to say, we trained the golfers in this idea. They hated it. Absolutely nobody took to it. They were like, and it just fell completely flat. So he and I, at the end of it, were just like, well, we tried. But he did say something funny to me. He said that he was worried that if because these are professional competitions, right? This is competitive golf. It doesn't seem like a competitive thing to me, but there you go. And he did say to me something funny. He said, if we train people in meditation between the holes, maybe they won't want to win anymore. So, yeah, competition seems a bit pointless after a while, if you're internally focused. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what Buddhism says, but that was what Andrew and I our conclusion with the Thai golf team. I still think it'd be good for boxers.
Hello. So I work in Dubai International Airport, and I deal with a lot of people on a daily basis. People coming, people going, and sometimes there are some challenging customers that try to cross the line or ask for things that they're not allowed to. And the airport where I work is like very, very strict in terms of rules. And I have to do my job. And what would you say to a person like me, for example, who needs to keep focus on keeping a clear mind, etc. And at the same time, I don't know, I have to be a little more, I'm not gonna say tough, but I need to do my job, you know. What would you say? Because it's so many people coming and going around me that sometimes, you know, it's a challenging feeling.
I'd love to give you loads of advice on this, but I know how bad I would be if I was in that. Like, I can think of good things, good advice, but then can you do it? Here's the thing I noticed, a lesson that I learned some years ago when I first joined the monastery, and as a layman, and we had the chanting. And at first, the chanting was really difficult. I hated it. It's in Pali, and they do the chanting. It's so difficult, I can't even follow the text, because they're not saying the words the way I think they should have written. And I disliked it. And then after a while I got into the flow and I'd learned the thing, and then it gets quite meditative to do the chanting, and I like it now. And then 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, I'm like, God, I hate this now. And then I started to watch, because I was training myself to watch internally. And liking or disliking the chanting is just a dumb idea I have. When I'm actually doing the chanting, I'm not liking it or disliking it. Usually I'm thinking about something else, what I had for breakfast or something. I'm not even thinking about it. The idea that I like or dislike this activity is nonsense. Because what I see when I do the chanting, this idea comes up. I don't like this guy's chanting. He goes off key. Now I dislike it. And I just see this like lurch. And I don't fall for it. And then I like it. And then I think it's so, to be here and do the chanting in the morning is so lovely. And like, I don't need to believe that either. You give up all of it. And what I see is just this endless pushing and pulling in the mind. And then I stop caring. Now I don't know if I like chanting or I don't like chanting. It's nonsense to me now. There's still things that I like. I like potato. He doesn't like potato. He's anti-potato. Yes, you did. You said potato is not a vegetable. Don't you remember? It is a vegetable. He's still doing it. I have a long memory when it comes to potatoes. With foods I like, I know about, I remember. I saw this guy once, and he said, I looked at him and I said, I know you, I can't remember your name or where I know you from, I just remember you invited me for lunch. I never forget a lunch invite. So, pushing and pulling in the mind, when you're with the customer, you just feel that. And I now do this all the time, because I meet people and they're saying something I don't like, or I don't want to listen to, or I don't agree with. I just feel that lurch, like I don't agree with you, I want to correct you. And it's like, it's nonsense. I don't need to correct somebody. I don't need to dislike them because of the thing. And then in a split second later, they're saying something else. So keep your attention on yourself, and you just see this pushing and the pulling. Then usually the way you deal with people will sort itself out. If you can actually hold that space around somebody, very quickly they will fall into the same space. But if you're reacting or you're getting caught in it, you're going to amplify the thing that they're doing. We're out of time. Thank you to Bhantes for coming and joining this evening. They actually joined a conference for World Fellowship of Buddhists. Can you believe they actually still exist and do stuff? Apparently we're on camera. Once every 5 years or so they actually do something. So they actually had a conference, and they were invited over to come and join the conference. And they were telling me all day how much they hated it and were bored, and Fortunately, they're well-trained Buddhists, so they just see pushing and pulling in the mind. So thank you to both of them for coming, and hopefully next time they come, they can come. I tried actually to get them to do the talk tonight, but their schedule was very uncertain. Even until last night, they still didn't know what was happening. So otherwise, they would have been glad to come and share with us. Okay, we're done.
Okay. Also, my thanks on behalf of the group to do, and of course, thanks to Pandit, and thank you to everybody for being here and joining the group and asking me the questions. Next week and the week after that, we will still have 2 sessions this year, and then we have a little break before we go again in early January next year. Next week we have Robin Moore. He has been here several times. So you know, some of you will know him. He used to be a monk for quite a long time. He was inheritor of a monastery, and now he's living in Bangkok, and he's doing a lot of translation work of important Buddhist work written in Thai. He translates that into English. He's a very good speaker. I can really recommend you to be here next week, and then the week after that we'll have the last Dhamma circle of this year. On practicalities, we would really appreciate if you help us cleaning up the room. The brown seats, fold them, and they go to the balcony. The white seats, they go behind the curtain in the hall. And in the hall, you'll also find 2 donation boxes. As always, the Dhamma is offered for free, but if you want to show your appreciation for a venerable, you can put some money in that box, and actually we're going to use that also to cover some of the cost of the little Bangkok Sangha. We have to pay for meter and the website and what have we, so we need some money there. It would be much appreciated. And if you give some money in the other box, that's going to go to Banari, the foundation that's giving us this room for free. So thank you all very much, and I hope to see you next week.
We finish with the blessing. Sabitiyo vivajantu sabharogo vinasatu mate bhavadvantarayo asukhi digayuko bhava abhiva dhanasili sanichang vudhapachayino chattaro dhamma vadanti ayuvano sukhang balang. If anybody would like to chat a little further, I'll still be here. But,
and some of us will go to a nearby restaurant to continue talking. Everyone is welcome to join us.
Hey. Okay. Okay. Right. It's the same Dhamma.